In this episode of 5 Minutes of Cloud, we're going to look at cloud from the perspective of a business user. When we talk about cloud and consider cloud from the user perspective of a business user, potentially a CIO, CEO level resource, or a management person, potentially from the sales department or project management, product management space, often we're looking at cloud as a way of either accelerating applications or reducing cost. These are the two sort of principal domains. The reducing cost one is potentially the most dangerous way of thinking about cloud, though, especially from the perspective of a business, because businesses are going to expect immediate returns on their investment. This will happen in certain environments, especially in environments where the automation of the development environment, the development services, the components that actually are helping to run the business have already come into play. Specifically, areas like the Agile or extreme development processes, the DevOps system space. These are environments where a business can actually expect to see great gains from going to cloud systems and cloud environments. Thinking about just taking your IT department and migrating it into the cloud wholesale, on the other hand, is not necessarily the most cost-effective systems model, because the cloud really gets its biggest value from the ability to leverage the elasticity of resource. The ability to turn service on and turn service off again when it's no longer being consumed is a real key. Most IT departments, most IT services have been built over the years on this concept that a piece of hardware or a piece of software has been acquired for a purpose, it runs for the life cycle of that purpose, and that life cycle is usually multiple years. You're not going to see the return on investment in that kind of a systems model. However, when you get into agile development so that your developers are more efficient, they can actually address your customers' demands more efficiently and effectively. Now we've shifted the game. Now suddenly cloud becomes a very important component. But you have to be able to leverage this agile model. You have to be able to leverage the flexibility of what cloud provides in order to get the best value from it. Also, from a business user perspective, often the concept is I can potentially get rid of my IT staff. It turns out that you don't get rid of them. Instead, they morph into a slightly different role. Whereas in the past, they managed the physical infrastructure and the physical resources of the data center and systems environment. Now they're managing the virtual components, the operations of those aspects that were previously done manually are now being automated, but they still have to manage that automation. They have to be there to do break fix when automation doesn't work out right. So you're not really going to get the cost benefit from migrating your IT system to IT services out into the cloud. The one area where that potentially shifts is when you get to the software as a service space. As a small business owner, I've actually seen this myself. As I'm building environments, building applications, I'm using more and more software services rather than building the tools myself. But there's still a cost involved. There is now a subscription cost usually to basically the support aspect of an individual different service, like an authentication service for login management of an application, or a video or media streaming service. Providing these different services and components still have a cost. Often that cost would be higher than if I were to build the service myself and actually get it deployed. So with all these pieces coming together, we see that cloud as a cost savings isn't necessarily the true benefit. But when you start looking at the agility that cloud can enable within either a development or application deployment, service deployment model, suddenly we see the real value of cloud, especially from the business enablement perspective. We can get our services built faster. We can address our customers' demands more rapidly. We can deal with burst in consumption. The classic web scale issue was the Valentine's Day or Christmas shopping season sort of events where suddenly you had hundreds of customers, whereas the weeks before you had one or two or three customers using your services. Being able to scale rapidly into those peak demand environments, but then scale back away from that is really key. For that to work, your application teams, your consumption resources, your applications that you're using have to be able to work in that add and remove sort of systems model. So again, from the business user's perspective, you can get cost reduction as long as you're willing to consume cloud the way cloud was designed to be consumed by expanding into it when it's needed and reducing your footprint when it's not. The ability to reduce is going to be the key in enabling cloud as an efficient resource for a business user. The second component is the agility, the ability to address customer demand, address internal use case demand more efficiently. That leverages the same agile models, the same flexibility of deploy more when needed and remove it when it's not. Services models still have to come into play there, but you have this agility model that you didn't have before. So this is cloud for business users. Thanks for watching. This was Robert Starmer bringing you 5 Minutes of Cloud. 5 Minutes of Cloud is brought to you by Kumulus Technologies, the company I actually work for, and we really appreciate the fact that you actually attended and watched this little segment. We obviously have a YouTube channel here, so please subscribe to that. We have Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Yeah, I do actually find some interesting things to say on Twitter once in a while. And on top of that, we have a mailing list. If you subscribe to the mailing list, we have a free report, basically 5 pitfalls of cloud that you can avoid if you get my report. So why don't you hop on over to our website, sign up for the mailing list. You'll get that report delivered to your inbox shortly after signing up. And I think that's also another very interesting and important read. Thanks so much again for watching.